for now, okay, I'm gonna skip it. So yeah, we have this main page where you can see all the buildings you are assigned to. So basically one user can be assigned to different buildings. Currently, I'm using my own account and I can see 21 buildings and I can see some main details about each building, like the address of the building, the name of the building, what types of assets do we have in these buildings, like floors, offices or spaces, rooms, how many devices, which devices are here, and also how many online devices we have in the building. And this is like a main overview of the whole situation in your account. And you can be assigned to different buildings with different roles. You can be an administrator, you can be an end user or moderator. And here in the sidebar, you have this. I'm just gonna hide this one. You have a quick overview again of the whole structure of your account with all the buildings. And when you expand the building, you can see the assets inside. So you can navigate quickly through all the assets in the building. And here we have a quick link to the dashboards of the buildings. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the dashboards in a minute. So from here, you can just navigate to all the buildings you're interested in. Here in the sidebar, you can change the language if you need to do so. When you change it, it doesn't reload or anything. You just have the new translations. And here you have quick access to some main settings like your profile, from where you can change your details of your account. You can reset your password. You can change the time zone of your account, which is not so used anymore. We have another option to add a time zone in the building itself. And here we have some control over our personal data, and we can, of course, delete our account and download the current data we have. And here we have some control over the notifications. For now, we are expanding this feature, but for now, we have the option to receive email notifications and push notifications. The push notifications are being received if you have the application of MClimate downloaded, and if you're using it with the same account, you're logged in here. So basically, the emails, they are like you can get emails if someone added you to a building, if you have been invited even to create your own account, because usually when people are adding new people to their buildings, some of their either colleagues or clients, it doesn't matter, they can be ones that they don't have account yet. So when they're added to the building and they haven't registered into the enterprise platform, they are receiving an email with an invitation. Hey, you can create a new account here and here, and afterwards they're navigated directly to the enterprise. And the notifications from devices can be a couple of different ones, like for example, device critical notifications, for example, the devices that are supporting flood detection, let's say. If this is turned on and if device receives an event for critical events such as flood, you will receive a notification either by email or by a push notification. We will be adding more features here soon, but these are the most important ones. Also, when you're receiving notifications, it doesn't matter if it's from a building or from devices, you will get a pop-up here at the right part of the screen, and you will have live notification in the enterprise if you have opened it, of course, and if you're seeing it right now. And afterwards, you can see a log with all the notifications that you have received here in the notification center. You have the unread and so on. I'm gonna go back to the main screen with all the buildings, and I'm gonna start showing you the main features of the platform. Let's start with one of the buildings, let's say my home. This is the main page of a building where you can have a full control over your building and the assets in it. And also we have some features like the connectivity center. I'm gonna tell you more in a minute, but here you can see the overview of the current status of your building. You have the mold detection summary, then you have the floor plans. If you have created some, then you have the dashboards and devices. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Here you have the button Edit Building. You can edit some information about your building, the address. If your clients have referral code, they can write it here. But so yeah, here is the basic changes you can do to your building. And then here, if of course the user that is logged in and accessing this building has this billing option and this billing button here. But this is only if the user is admin, and even if the user is admin but hasn't created any subscriptions, when you click here, you will not see anything but just information about your account. Like I have some invoice history here, but that's it. So it's basically connected to the account that the user is logged in with. So it won't be, they won't be able to see any other information that is not connected to this account. Then we have the users. We can see an overview of all the users that are added to this building. And here you can add some different users to the different assets. For example, this building has 2 rooms, and here we don't have anyone added to this room, and this room has only 1 person. But when you want to add someone, okay, I've added this. Let's say you have some user or client that needs to have access only to one specific room, and you don't want him or she to have the access to all controls of the building. You don't want to see specific information, or you don't want to be able to delete or move devices and so on. You can make the user end user or moderator, but moderator has more rights. And you click on submit, and then this user has access only to this room here. I think this user is added already here, but you can easily remove it from there. So this user, Anna Maria, has access only to this room and to the devices that are only in this room. So basically, when you're adding people in different assets, let's say to a specific space, this user will have access to the main asset, that is the space, and then all the assets that are inside it. So for example, if you have 2 rooms in this space, then this person will be able to see the space and the rooms inside. So yeah, you have the status here of all the users that are assigned to this building. So basically everything is around the buildings. So everything is specifically for a building. So you can have your account, but this account has its options for the notifications, and everything else is connected to the building itself. So basically all the users we can see here, they're connected to this, assigned to this specific building. And you have the status column here. And for example, I can see that this person was invited. And this means that this person didn't have and maybe still doesn't have an account registered on the platform. And he was invited, but he haven't accepted the invitation. So he still doesn't have access to this building. And all the other ones have joined. So they have the access that you have gave them already to this building. And we have the different roles: moderator, administrator, and end user. The end user is very limited. So when someone is end user, they can only see the devices, but they cannot move, delete the devices. They cannot change anything in the building. They can create some, let's say if they are assigned to a floor, they can create some floor plans and so on. But that's it. They cannot delete, and they cannot remove other people from this building or add new ones. So it's pretty limited, only maybe reading. And then we have the moderator that has almost all the rights that the administrator has, but he or she cannot, let's say again, remove people or add new people to this building. And I think that's it. They can move the devices from one asset to another asset, but they cannot delete the devices from the building. And the administrator has all rights. So he or she can either edit the building, delete the building, move and delete devices. So full access. And of course, when you're assigned to a specific asset, you have access only to this specific asset and the ones that are underneath it. So then you have the schedule profiles. Here we have two schedule profiles. So almost all devices have the possibility to be controlled by heating profiles, or also called schedule profiles. We used to have only heating profiles because we had only the option to set target temperature, but now we have added a new feature that it's actually allowing people to create schedules for turn on and off devices such as relays. When we click on create a new profile, we can choose the different type of a profile. We have the heating profile that it's actually setting a target temperature, and then the turn on off profile, which is for on and off devices. Currently, only the relays are being supported by this type of profile, but maybe I can show you and explain a little bit more how they work. So we will be creating a heating profile, sorry, on-off schedule profile for a relay. So let's say, I'm not sure actually this building has a relay, but I'm going to show the process, and afterwards I'm going to show you a device in action. So let's just name it somehow. We have the option of globally viewable. This means this allows users to choose either they want this profile to be visible for other users that are end users in this building. So, for example, let's say you're controlling one building from the enterprise, you're administrator, and you have clients that are only using the application, for example, or they're using the enterprise, but they have limited access to only specific spaces. So this option allows you to hide this heating profile or on-off schedule profile from them if you do not want them to see it. For example, we have clients, like we had this use case before where um, a company wanted to control their devices, and they wanted their clients to have specific target temperature for their devices, and they didn't want their clients to see this. So basically, they made it hidden from them, so they didn't see the profile, they couldn't edit it or whatsoever, and they were just being able to control their device, but they couldn't see the actual set temperature at the moment. So this is allowing you to have control if this is visible for other people in the building or not. Then we have the default boost time. So boost time is, so when you have a profile, a schedule, it is running throughout the whole day. Let's say you have a schedule from 00 to 00, and then the device is being controlled by a schedule during the whole day. And you have this case where, for example, you came home earlier, or your clients came home earlier, or they're feeling cold, or they want to do an action that they need to override the schedule. So let's say we have a Wiki, and this Wiki is set to 15 degrees, let's say from 10 o'clock till 2 p.m., and they're feeling quite cold, and they want to boost this temperature for a specific time. And this time is the default boost time of the profile. But when you are controlling the device through the control panel, you can set a new override for the boost time, but the default one is being set from here. So basically, when, for example, for some reason you want to override the schedule, but you don't want to override the whole profile and you don't want to change it, you just have this time frame where you want to override it for some time. Then you set this specific time for your new setting to be overriding the schedule profile. So this is the default boost time, and you can set it to whatever you like. Of course, if it's in the range of a whole day, but let's say a 2 hours range, it's completely fine in most cases. And then when we want to choose the visibility, so actually if we have set it to be globally viewable, you can choose where exactly this might be visible. So I'm gonna leave this at the whole building, but usually people can choose if they want to assign it to a specific room or specific space or specific floor. But usually people are just using the whole building when it's globally viewable. So they don't mind anyone else to see this profile, and they want to be like transparent for everything. And then we have the option to add a time slot where we are selecting a start and end time for this specific block. So let's say I'm gonna make a schedule for the whole day in an office, let's say. So I'm gonna have from midnight to, let's say, 7 o'clock in the morning. I want my relay to be turned off. And then from 7 o'clock, when I'm expecting people to come to the office, until 6 o'clock, maybe, then I want my stay to be on. And then I'm adding the new slot. And then when I'm expecting people to leave from work until midnight again, I want to turn it off. So I'm creating my profile with my preferences this way, and then I can just click here to just copy it to all working days. So when I'm selecting these, they're being transferred to the other days. And then I have the Saturday and Sunday days, which are off work days. So I want my relay to be turned off for the whole day. And I'm just gonna copy it to Sunday only. So we have the full week schedule profile where I have my work days with some settings on, and then my off days I have relay turned off for the whole day. So yeah, we have created the schedule profile, and from here we are managing the devices. But currently in the building that I'm showing you this at, we don't have the on-off devices, so we don't have a relay. So I can leave this for the moment. I'm gonna create it and save it so I have it. But I'm gonna show you in another building how it looks when it has the devices assigned to it. But here we have an already created schedule profile that is for target temperature. And here you can see all the devices that are being assigned to this profile, and they are running with this schedule profile. I'm going to open one of them in a moment to show you how they're being controlled. And this is how a normal heating profile looks like. We have the different target temperatures. Of course, if you want to change something, you can just quickly change it from here. You don't need to delete and create a new one. So you can edit, you can delete from here different slots. You can look through all the different days. For example, we have a difference here. We have 6 as a target temperature here, and then Saturday and Sunday are also different. So it's quite easy to go through the different settings and to create new ones or change old ones, and to, of course, select which devices should be assigned. And for example, we have, I don't have devices in these rooms, but from here you can filter by space, room, or if you want to see the devices in the whole building. Okay, then I'm gonna continue with the other options. We have button node right here. Currently, I'm not gonna go in depth in this. So what we did here is with an additional subscription, we can create an instance. It's running on our servers, but the clients can use it. After activating a subscription, they can have access to their instance of Node-RED, but overall it's Node-RED. So this is why I'm not gonna go in depth with this one. I just wanted to show that we offer this option. So basically people can skip the whole part of setting up Node-RED and doing all the needed setup and so on and so on. And if they are familiar with how to use Node-RED, it's an easy option to do it from here if they need it, of course. And then we can go to firmware management, from where we have an overview of all the devices. We are actually upgrading this part as well. We are changing all the tables, so they're going to look nicer. But from here, you can take a look at what is happening with your devices and if they're all updated. If they haven't been updated and they have no information about the update, they're going to be empty. And if for some reason, for example, this one was stopped, so it was started and then stopped, this is why it's stopped status here. We have the current version of this device, and if we start it, let me start it from here. You can select multiple devices and start them at once. You can just click here and then select the version you want to update your device to, and then you have the option to update in fast mode or in a normal state. I'm just gonna turn it on with the fast mode. And when we started the update here, you can see the progress of this device, then the status and the current version and the version that we are updating it to. This device was already updated. This is why the current version is the same as the one that it's updating to. And we have information at what time it was initiated. And then after one of the packets of the photo update has passed, you will have the information here at the date and time the last packet was completed by the device. So from here you will see all the devices that are eligible for firmware update. For example, there's some devices that cannot be updated for some reason, so they won't show up here. So every time you're opening this page, you have the devices that are only eligible. Then we have another option, rules. This feature is quite big, actually. I'm gonna show it in another building, and I'm gonna come back to it because I really want to show you all the other ones, so you can have a better overall image of the whole platform. And then I'll go to rules. But then we have all the different features in the buildings, like connectivity center, mode detection summary, floor plans, dashboards, and devices. I'm going to start with connectivity center, but I'm going to open another building that I think it had better overview of what's happening in the building, more devices. The connectivity center shows you the current state and history data for how many devices were online for this period of time that you have selected. Currently, we have today, but let's say I'm going to just select a range. So from May the 6th until today, we can see a graph showing us how many devices were online. We can see that there were some times that some devices were offline. And actually from here, we can see that the problematic device was this one, CO2 display light, and it was offline for quite some time. And this feature allows us to see very easily if there is some problem with the gateway or the gateways, of course, because usually when the problem is in the gateway, we can see a drastic drop of all devices going offline or too many devices having fluctuations and changing their state too often. And when we have this case here where one device was offline for only 16 minutes and then the other one for 18 hours, we know it's not problem with the gateway, but it was a problem with the device itself for some reason. I'm not sure what the problem was here, but this device had disconnect events. It was 17 times disconnected, which is quite a lot. And here in the logs, you can see all the events and you can gain more overview of what is happening with this device, why it was disconnecting, not why, but at what time it was disconnecting. And we can definitely see here that this device has some problems. Also, you can make comparisons, for example, with previous period, and we can see here and also in the summary again, the comparison is showing a trend here, like there are some overlapping periods of offline and online devices. So yeah, it can be very easily used for detecting problems with the network mainly and the gateways. Or, of course, to detect some problems with specific devices like this one. You can expand it and use it like that as well. So when we move forward to this feature, mode detection summary, this is a quite new feature as well. It shows devices with higher risk of mold risk. Here we have mold index for the last 12 hours and some really quick overview of the percentage of the mold index. And then here we have a graph showing the temperature, humidity, and mold risk. And both this data and this data, it's an aggregation for all the devices that have temperature and humidity sensors in this building. And here on the right side, they're shown only the devices that are with higher risk. For example, this device, it's an HT device. It has a mold index of 42, which is slightly higher than it should be. And when you click here on check all devices, you have an overview page of the mold risk for the last 12 hours for all devices. So when you have some devices that are of high risk, they will show up here. And then you have an overview of devices here. And when you click on the devices, you can see this one is not aggregated of all devices, but for this specific device for the last 12 hours. So you can gain some insights of what is going on. And for example, for this device, we can see that actually the humidity is quite high. So this is why the mold index is higher. Of course, there's a whole algorithm calculating the risk. It's not only based on the humidity, but still the humidity is a main role in this. But here we have the experience that many users are kind of getting worried when they see that their building is at slightly higher risk. So this is why we actually disabled it, and it's not open by default. So you need to click here just to see more information about the mold detection summary, just so you have it in mind. So yeah, so we have the aggregated data here for the whole building for all devices that have temperature and humidity sensors, and then you have the high-risk devices, and here the overview for all devices. And then we have the floor plans. I'm gonna show you in a bit how they work and what you can do with them. We have the dashboards. Let me see. Okay, I'm MClimate Office. I think I had a dashboard here. Yeah. In this building, we can see overview of the building with some devices that are included in the building. And what you can do with the dashboards is you can create different types of widgets for different types of devices. So when you click on, sorry for being so fast, but when you click on edit dashboard, you can choose to add a new widget, and you can choose different widgets. You have a lot of types. My favorite ones are the charts and the device-specific widgets. The charts can be set up to show whatever data you would need to show. So basically now here I have one wiki and I'm showing the measured temperature. I chose a color for it, type of chart. And then I have the same device and I'm comparing the target temperature. So when I open my dashboard, I can see that here the target temperature and the measured temperature were really close. And then the target temperature changed and dropped to 5. And since we are not in the heating period, the measured temperature stayed high because here in Bulgaria it's spring right now, it's quite warm. So it stayed high. But when you have an actual radiator working and you can set up your dashboard, for example, to show only the target temperature and measured temperature, humidity. Here I have created the chart with the humidity. And you can basically, you can select whatever data you're interested in. For the different devices, you have the different fields you can choose from. Let me see if I have another type of device. I have quite a lot of them. For example, the wireless thermostat, like I have open close sensor here and so on, but let's say I'm choosing this one just to show you the fields. So basically here I can compare the humidity. Oh, but this device is offline. Sorry, I don't have another wireless temperature. But yeah, this device is currently offline. But for example, let's say you want to compare the humidity of one device to another device, and you can add as many devices as you would like. So there is no limit of the number of devices. Of course, the charts would get a little bit slower to load if there, let's say, hundreds of devices. But you can change the time frame as well. You can choose to show data for 2 weeks, a month, or a custom period. You can make changes to the axis. You can change the domain. You can set up a custom domain. You can just leave it auto so it calculates the desired values and so on. And basically, the dashboards are allowing you to create the overview of the building that you need. And also, you have the option of creating reports here. So what does it mean? We are actually currently working on a newer version of this feature. But for now, people can use it to create kind of like reports for their dashboards. They can set it to be sent daily, weekly, monthly, or they can, of course, turn it off. And then they can select a specific time at which this report should be sent and the emails that this report should be sent to. Here we have the custom message we are displaying. So basically, one admin can set up, for example, of course, can set up a dashboard, and then the admin wants to send this report to the moderator every day at 5:30. And for example, if we have this dashboard, let's say, he can have the instructions to have in mind if the target temperature is too high or too low, or to make their own custom reports based on these reports. And basically what this report is doing, you have the history here. This one is with quite old events, but you can actually download the report from here. But currently what it is doing is making a screenshot of the current state. So if I have this report set up to send me an email at 2 p.m., then it will get the information from this dashboard at 2 p.m. So it's basically you don't need to open the enterprise at specific hours and so on, and to have this extra step of logging in and so on and navigating. So you can basically have the dashboard sent by the enterprise to your email or to other people's emails. So it can be used for different use cases. But yeah, this is the dashboard option feature of the enterprise. And let me show you, we have developed, you can see here, this device is very problematic. It is actually disconnecting every 1 hour or so. So it has a lot of disconnect events. So this is very useful when you want to spot some changes in your devices or problems with devices quickly, because it's the first thing you're actually seeing in the enterprise. So it's quite useful, in my opinion, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna show you the device dashboard. I'm not skipping, I'm just gonna go back to these other components here. We have the dashboard for the whole building, and then we have a custom dashboard for a device. We are planning to make this movable, so you can select which of the tabs is the first one or the second one. So basically, the first tab can be replaced by something custom that you have built, but the overall functionality is the same as the one as the building dashboard, but here your widgets are focused on only one device, the one device that you are opening and working with currently. So basically the widgets are the same, but you have only the data of the device. And of course, the device widgets, which are these ones. This is for Wiki, and you can directly control the device from here. Here, what you're seeing is the option to manually override the schedules. This device is currently running with a schedule, and from here you can change the target temperature, and you can choose to override it for, let's say, you can choose to override it for 3 hours. 3 hours from here, it's 4 p.m. So we have this option. So I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna tell you a bit more about the main device tables. This is the newest feature in the enterprise. You have a list with all devices. This is something we have always had, but now you have the option to create new views, and you have a couple of predefined views. So a view is a view that you can control the sort, the fields that are displayed, or you can add some filters. The predefined views that we have added are networking, battery health, and structure. So the networking is showing all the relevant information about the network status of the device, the last gateway it was sending downlinks to and uplinks. Then we have the packet loss of this device, RSSI, spreading factor, and frame count, and so on. And this is allowing of people again having this overview of the networking of all devices in this building. And then we have the battery health. Here we're displaying only the battery of the devices. And here, for example, you can see that this device is offline, and this triangle here is signaling that something is wrong with the device. And for these devices, the problem is that their batteries are low, and this is actually offline. And I bet the possibility of battery is being low is the reason of it being offline. And then we have this here as well. This one is another one. It's not battery related, but it is showing that again something is wrong with this device, and you can easily see that something is happening with this device. And currently this device has two problems. It's not mounted properly, and also it is not attached to backplate. Then we have the structure. This is used to see where devices are located at in this specific building. You have the floor spaces and rooms. Currently in this building, all devices are assigned directly to the building. They're not associated with other assets such as floors. And then here, this one is a custom view that I have created at some point. You can edit the name, you can choose another icon and so on. And then why there are no records to display? Because there is one active filter here, which is measure temperature over 25. This filter can be used, for example, if you want to see all devices that are currently overheating in this building, but you can choose different fields. Let's say floor is empty, and you can save to current view, or of course you can create a new view, or for example, if you like one of the views here, but you only want to, let's say you want other fields in it, let's say def UI, and then you click on save as new view. And you create a new view with the settings you have selected. So basically you can either create copies of the predefined views, or you can create completely custom overview that has nothing connected with the networking or battery health or structure. So it's very easy for debugging a building and seeing the overall status of all devices. And a lot of problems with the devices can be caught on time with these views. Also, you can, of course, sort based on different fields. And of course, you can export the data from the table. And you have like the data exported with all the information. You can search, of course. I'm not going to show this because this is pretty basic functionalities. And so yeah, you can create the custom views. You can choose filters, fields, sort, and so on. You can export the data. And also, of course, you still have these functionalities for sorting of only one column and so on. Here, what we're seeing is an indication that this device is actually using an external sensor, or it is being associated to another device to control its target temperature. So here we have this Vicky device that it's associated with the wireless thermostat. So the target temperature is being taken from this wireless thermostat. I have this wireless thermostat somewhere here. Yeah, unfortunately, it's offline for the moment, but the last target temperature was 5, so this device is still getting this temperature. And here, this icon is showing us that this device has a newer firmware version, and you can update it. And here you have the device. This device has as an external sensor. So this device target temperature is being controlled by this device. And here we have the external sensor temperature and humidity. So basically when this device is working, it is working with another target temperature and two external sensor. Also, what can I tell you more about these tables? Of course, you have a lot of devices here. You can change the rows per page and so on and so on. So they're quite flexible. And from here, you can add new devices. You can add devices directly in, let's say, rooms. Let's go to a room. I don't have devices here. And when you click here, you just add the serial number and the app key of this device, or you can drag and drop a CSV file, or of course, open it from here. And when you click on import devices, all the devices are being directly imported in the asset you have selected. For example, if I'm importing them here in living room, I will have the devices here. Also, here we have the overview of all assets inside the building. I'm calling assets all the floor spaces, rooms. For example, here in this building, we have one floor with one office and one room. And we have an overview of how many devices are in this room or this floor. And usually when you hover here, I'm not sure if I have a building that has some devices inside the rooms, but when you hover here, you get a list with all the number of the currently assigned to these asset devices. And from here, you have the option to manage devices. Again, if you go to a room, let's say I'm going to go here. And then I have the option to move some of these devices to this room. I'm just going to move some. And then you have the devices in this room. And they're shown here. So we also, when you, let's go to, no, it's fine here. If I select multiple devices, let's say I have multiple devices here, I have the option to manage or so-called to control devices. I have a quick model here showing with possible commands that can be sent to this specific device or numerous devices. The only rule for this is that they're of the same type. So basically, if I have a couple of HDs here, so if you have multiple devices of the same type, you can select them all, then click on Manage, and here you can send bulk commands to all these three devices. So let's say we want them all to have the child lock on. And then I press Send, and the commands are being sent to all of these devices. So it's very easy to send some bulk commands. You can request update of all of them. You can send a custom hex command and so on and so on. It's good for some commands that are for setup or initial setup of the devices. If you have something in mind for the beginning while you're setting up the building. Also, from here, we can select to update these devices. This device is not eligible for update. This is why the icon was in gray. But from here, you can also select a new version for your devices to be updated to. And then we have the move option that quickly allows us to move devices from one building to another building. And of course, you can select the different assets you want your device to be moved at. Let's say I want my device to be moved here. I click on save and it's being removed from this building. You should get a prompt like saying, okay, are you sure you want to move this device? Because a lot of mistakes are being made. And if you click on yes, this device will be moved here in Office 1 in MClimate Office building. And also you have the option to bulk delete devices. Of course, again, with a prompt because we know how dangerous this functionality is. So yeah, we allow you to execute bulk commands, sending or whatever actions you want to do with your devices in the buildings. And I think this is it for the device tables views. And let me show you one device control. So you have the option to quickly open the quick view from here. Let's say if you want to just see something in this device, you just want to have a quick look at the graphs of this device and you don't want to open a new page for it, you can do so by clicking here. Or if you want to, of course, delete a single device, you can do so from here. But if you want to have a deeper look for this device, you can just click on device and a new page will load with the information for it, where you have a monitor tab where you can see the current status of this device. Also here you have a quick look over the mode risk detection for this specific device. Then you have some network overview, the last gateway it used, again, all the network related settings. Then you have information about which heating profile or, of course, schedule profile this device is currently using. And when you click here, it's going to take you to overview of all profiles, so you can change it. Also, you have the option to click here. You have broader overview of the current profile, and you can, of course, change it or remove the profile from the device. And here you have the history graph with the history data of this device. And you can, of course, let's check last week, change the dates, and see overview of what happened with this device last week. Actually, I did a mistake because this device is a test device. This is why it's loading a little bit slower. I think it's, yeah, keep alive at 1 minute, which is not a good example. It's good to set your devices to around 10 minutes, but this is used for testing, so this is why it is so like that. And here we have overview of the status of the device, where we can easily see target temperature, measured temperature, valve opening. Like here we can see it was fully opened, here fully closed, and this is because of this heating profile. So we have 30 degrees, which is set from here to here. You can see it every day. Then we have 24 degrees. You can again see it here in this part. And then we have the 5 degrees. And here we have all the information about the valve opening during the different hours. Like this device is not a good example for the chart itself, or more accurately for the data itself. But you can still see the functionality that is showing how this device is operating, what commands have been sent, what target temperature it was set to, and so on. You can, of course, decide to turn off some of the data showing on the graph, so it's easier for you to look at the data. And also, if this device has an external temperature assigned to it, this one doesn't have it. This is why it was turned off by default. But if it does have, then the temperature, the measured temperature of the external sensor will show up here as well. So I already showed you the dashboard of the device. I think it's very useful and easy to use because people can create their own overview of their own devices. And not every person is interested in the same thing that the other one is interested in. So it's quite useful. The device dashboard. And then we have the control panel from where you can actually send commands. In the monitor tab, we decided that we should include the possibility for some devices to have the option to control their target temperature, since this is the one option that it's used the most. We decided that it should be easily reachable and people should not be forced to click on another tab to control their device. But from here, you have all the commands that are available for this device with this specific firmware version. You can see the versions here. You can, of course, request update of the versions, and every command has this tick underneath that is sending a get command to the device, and afterwards, when the device answers, we get the new data here. And I'm not going to go through all the commands because every device is specific, but all the commands that are being shown here are being shown depending on the current version of the device. So if a device is lower version and needs update, some commands that are not supported by this version will not be shown here. So there is no confusion in our clients. And also, let me show you like this external temperature sensor, but I don't have a suitable one. But yeah, you can set the external temperature sensor from here. So basically, when you set it, you have the graph showing the external measured temperature from here, and also the device itself, it is working with this external sensor. Then we have the battery estimation. This is a tool that is being used only for overall idea how many years does this device has. So currently this device, like you saw, it is set to 1 minute keep alive, which is very low. And usually people should use at least 10 minutes, if it's possible, even more. But this device is a test device, and you can see the overall consumption. Then you have the projected battery life, and for how many days have this calculation been based on. And then you have the option to reset. So basically what it does is it is setting a new timer for the days. It is resetting the whole consumption and the projected battery life. For example, if you change the batteries of the device and you want to get new statistics, then you click on reset, and then you have the new data that it's not being compared and calculated by using the previous period of data. So usually when people are changing batteries, they are resetting the statistics. And here we have a pie chart that is showing from where this overall consumption is coming from. For example, for this device, it is quite a lot of the consumption is coming from motor movement, and then we have the communication, and then we have join requests and idle. Then we have the commands, from where you can see who at what time and what command have been sent to this device. And for example, if you have colleagues in this building, let me see if I have, let's say here my colleague sent the new command, so he set the operational mode to automatic, and this gives you an easy overview of who sent the different commands. And here we can see commands coming from schedules, from timers, directly from the application. And also when you have executed commands from rules, they will show up as well here. Then we have the uplink data, which gives us the raw data that can be opened in the payload helper. And when you select it from there, it automatically gets the payload. And then when you click, when you scroll down to uplink decoder, you have the whole data that it's decoded. And from here, actually, you can generate some commands, like you click the desired commands, enabled. And then you can just copy, and then you can go to the enterprise control, and here you can send the custom command. People are having different reasons for this, so it is again very useful. This is why we created this payload helper, so people can use it, generate their own commands, and then go back to the enterprise and send them to their devices. In the uplink data, you have the decoded data, then you have the date, hour, and so on. So basically all the information that you have in the graph from the first monitor tab, you have it here, but in a more raw format. And then, as I told you before, the schedule profile overview for all days, you can change it, and you have the full control of what heating profile or on-off schedule profile is device using. So basically, this is it about the devices. And then I think I reached the state where I should show you the floor plans. Let me see if this floor has. Okay, I'm gonna show you how you're uploading. I have one floor plan. I think it's this one. So we're uploading an image of the floor plan, and then here we have all the devices that are available in the buildings. And let's say I want to set this one and this one. Sorry, but I clicked right away. There is a bug here. I think it didn't got the building. Let me see if this one has floor plans or no. No, it doesn't have. Okay, I'm gonna go here in this floor. Yeah. And then I want to place somewhere my device, and then I have it somewhere on the floor plan. And then I have the option to have its badges here active all the time. And then the device info block, which is this one from the left, that should be active only on hover. And then you can add different devices here, and you can control how they should be shown on the floor plan. We are preparing a new version of this functionality as well. We will be expanding it and making it better, because currently it's not the best one. But from here you can filter the devices that are displayed on the floor plan, and you can gain a very quick overview of how are your devices in this floor, on this floor. But you can actually create floor plans for different zones. For example, like you can have spaces on this floor only, and you can upload the space plan of the current space, and you can create different overviews for the different assets. And then we have I think I didn't show you the rules. I'm gonna show you some that are already created and we are currently using in our office, actually. So rules allows you to create different types of actions and conditions, and you can create your own like functionalities for your devices. You can connect different devices with other devices. For example, what we're using in our office is we are controlling our lights by using buttons and relays. So we have in our lamps, we have the 16 ASPM relays connected to the lamps and installed there. And then just next to the door, we have placed these buttons that are named 1, 2, 3. And we have created this rule. So when we click once, one of the buttons, then the specific relay is turning on. So basically we have named the buttons 1 and the lights 1. So we have quick overview of which one is controlling which one. And here we have connected the trigger device to the action, to the field, sorry. And we're selecting the field from here. I'm just gonna create a new one in a minute, just so you can know how it can be created. But an overview of already working and created rule is this one. So basically, when you click on the first button, then you have control over the lights 1, and you're sending a custom command with state true for this device. And let me show you. This is another one. When you click on the button, we are sending a message to the person who is responsible for ordering water for our office. So he receives the message when this button is clicked, and this button is right next to the bottles of water. So when someone sees that the water is running out, then he clicks the button, and then our colleague receives the notification. And of course, you can automate this to even send an email to the company that you're ordering the water from. But let me show you how we're creating a rule. Of course, name and description. And then we have this blank dashboard from where you have these guides that are telling you what you should do. So the first step is to add a trigger device. The trigger device is the one that it's triggering the action that you want to be executed to the end. So let's filter this. Let's see if we have some. We don't have devices. Okay, here we have D2D test. Okay, device to device. This is a functionality for the devices. It is coming soon. You can control one device from another one directly without the use of software or it like you use the hardware and the software, the device itself, the firmware, but you don't need anything else. They can be set up directly together. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna use this device, wireless thermostat. Let's see what we can do. And then you need to connect the trigger device with the field you want to use from this device. And let's say when measure temperature, I'm going to use the measure temperature. And here you can add as many devices as you would like. There is again no limit. And when you click on create field, let's say we have one field, like this is one type of device, wireless thermostat, and then I have two CO2 War1 devices. If I connect all of them here, they will use the same field. But you need a couple of devices of the same type just to use the same field for all of them. Let's say for CO2, I'm going to use the CO2. And then the second step is to add a condition. And here we have grouped the wireless thermostat and then the CO2 sensors to two fields. So I'm going to use field 1. So if measured temperature of wireless thermostat is more than, let's say, 24 degrees because it's pretty high. And then, CO2 of all these or either one of these devices is more than, here you have the option to select a comparison device. So what does it mean? It means that you can have the option of comparing the fields and the current status of one device to another one. So basically, if, let's say, this rule is being executed right at this moment, and I have the condition of CO2 higher than 1000, and the CO2 that it's in the next room are equal, or my CO2 in my room is higher than the one that it's in the other room, then do something. So this is why we have the option of comparison device. So here I can use only one of these CO2 War1 devices, and then I will choose the CO2. So basically, what we did is, if the one of these devices CO2 is higher than the CO2 of this device that I selected, then do something. And you can add different roles here. And you can also add different conditions. For example, if you want to, here, like, I just wanted to show the comparison with another device. And this is showing, it's not constantly 24, but currently is 24, but it's just constant. So you are writing a constant value. So it's not something dynamic like current value of another device field, but it's constant number. But yeah, of course, here you have, I'm going to remove the comparison to the other device, and let's say it's higher than 1000. So the CO2 would be very high. And yeah, okay, we're gonna send an email saying, okay, it's too hot and the CO2 is too high. You should open the window or the door or turn on the fan. We have a couple of actions here. We can choose notification, downlink, or webhook. The notification currently is only email, but we will soon be adding SMS and also push notifications as notifications for the rules. Also, we have the option to send downlink to another device or multiple devices. And then we have the webhook. Like, for example, you mentioned Slack, send notification to Slack. You can set up a webhook that is sending notifications to Slack. Actually, in the rule that I showed you with the water, sending notification to our colleague, it is sending webhook with setup to send messages in a Slack channel. But let's say now we have the email, and then we need to connect this condition to this action. So this condition is responsible for this action. And then if we add another condition, let's say it's filled in with some information, and you have another action, let's say it's webhook. And if you connect this one to this action, if this condition is met, then this action will be executed. Of course, you can connect two conditions to two actions and one condition to only one. You can basically do whatever you like with these ones, and you can remove the connections. But yeah, so let's say we are sending the email for the case where we need to open the window. And I'm just going to use this one. You write a message, it's too hot and the CO2 are too high. ASAP. Here also, what we can do in the message of the email or the webhook or the downlink is that we can actually include the and populate fields from another device. So basically, let's say we have next to too hot, we want to add, let me check which device I was using here. Okay. I'm using the wireless thermostat 40L. And I want to include this in my message. So I'm given the option to choose which field, like in a user-friendly kind of way. And then I just need to copy paste this somewhere in the message. And I want to show the temperature of this device in my message right here. And then let's say I want to populate another one, CO2 of this device. And you can choose which field you want to populate here. Let's say we are using this here. And you can use this. And of course, if you want to save this one, but the other one that disappeared. Okay. And now when we receive this email, we will have the information of the current status of these devices that we are using the information for the condition. So when we receive the email, we'll have it is too hot, it's 25 degrees, and then we have the CO2 levels are too high, and the CO2 levels are 1,500 or something like that. And then we'll get the email with all this information. So basically it's very dynamic, and you can, like, this is why I didn't come up with some specific use case, because again, people are very different and they have different use cases. The buildings are different. For example, we have a client that is using the relays, and he's using the rules for turning on and off his electric heater. And also, like the heater is controlling the whole building is from these heaters. I don't remember how they're called, but it's a central heating boiler or something like that. And he's controlling the whole building, and he has set up the rule to turn off and on the relay based on a measured temperature of another device that it's in the same place where the relay is. Also, with the relays, again, we have the option to detect over voltage, overheating, and so on. And rules can be sending emails or sending downlinks. Okay, the current value of the power, let's say in the relay is X, and we need to turn off the device right away or do something else. So they're very dynamic, and we try to do them as flexible as we could. And we are planning of not only adding different actions or different notifications, but we are planning to add different types like time-based rules. Also, we're planning to add something like integrated schedules, but in between different devices, and so on. This can be expanded quite a lot. But yeah, I think I kind of showed. I forgot about this option here. So if we have rule that it's following, let's say the measured temperature of device that it's set to 1 minute, keep alive, and then this rule will be executed every minute, and we don't want to receive an email or we don't have the action executed every minute because this device has this lower value for keep alive, and we want to skip for the first 10 minutes and send this email, for example, only if 10 minutes has passed from the last execution of this rule. And this is from where we are setting the rule execution interval. But if it is not set, then it runs on every keep alive of the trigger device. And of course, you have the shortcut here to the documentation where there is more information on the rules. I'm not sure it's more, but at least it's written at one place. I think this is the overall presentation of the enterprise. You have different dashboards, you have quick access to the assets in the buildings, then you have the overview of the building, you have the dashboards, floor plans, mold detection summary, devices, the device table views, and let me show you how you can create a building. When you click on create a new building, you name your building, let's say main office, then you have the address here. Okay, then you have the map here, and we are using the time zone, so we have accurate execution of schedule profiles of all time-related functionalities in the enterprise. The referral code can be left blank. Of course, not everybody has a referral code. Then you choose the type of the building, if it's either residential or commercial. Let's choose commercial for now. And then you have all this information that it's optional. Your clients can choose not to fill them, but they can fill the information if they would like. And then you have the heating and cooling type energy source. We have different options here. And then every building can have a different structure. This is why in the beginning I was showing you a building, let's say without floors or without spaces or without rooms. A building can either have structure with building, floors, then spaces, and then rooms, or you can skip one of these assets. So we can skip floors. Let's show how it works without floors. So my building doesn't have floors. It has only one floor. And then I have spaces. Yeah, I do have spaces. Here you can name the different spaces, or you can just use one of the predefined options here. But let's say I have offices in my main office building. Um, and then you click on next, and then you have the option to add multiple offices at once, like let's say 10. I have 10 offices on my one floor building. You can change the names however you would like them to. If you made a mistake, you can delete them, you can add a new one, and so on. And then you have the option to decide if you want rooms in your offices or you don't want rooms. I'm going to choose yeah. And I'm going to create a room here in Office 3. I'm going to have 3 rooms, and the other ones can be left blank. So basically, you have the full control of the structure. And if a building doesn't have spaces or rooms, or you don't want to use them, you can just leave them blank, and you can decide not to have this. And afterwards, you have the option to manage your building, and you should navigate to the building and then add devices and control them. And I think this is it. I think overall, this is the whole functionality of the enterprise, at least overall. I forgot to mention something here in the integrations. We have created the option to create M tokens. For some network providers, you would need M token. For other ones, no. But here, people can easily follow their M tokens. M token is used for authorization. So basically, when you're connecting our software to the network provider, sometimes, not always, but sometimes you need an M token. This section is in the enterprise here. And you have quick links to all the documentation for all the network providers, how you can create an integration, and so on.